Where did everybody come from?
I just let them in. Hello. How are ya?
Ooh,
Nice to see you.
nice.
Elisa's got a nice scarf. Johan is outside. Annie Kirk's got cute little
Oh, hey.
ponytails, cute little
Got
space
the
buns.
scarf and the mask. You are all sorts of accessorized today. Look at
Actually,
you.
Annie Kirk won. I want to see. Yes, sorry. I'm so sorry. I got I got it, Tiffany.
What'd you do?
I forgot the live transcription. I apologize, Tiffany. We were talking beforehand about random things, and I it got a little
Talking
carried
about
away.
comics.
I just wanted to see Annie Kirk's hair because I think it's adorable.
Kevin Bell friggin' bringing the brim.
This is
Look at
buns.
you.
Actually, I touched up my roots today, so
Okay, so you got buns, and then but they're
yeah.
but it's a. I need to get a closer look. I need to get a closer look.
And it's this space ones.
Oh,
And
there's butterflies.
yeah.
And then you got your hair hanging. Oh my gosh! And it's so long. It looks adorable. I love it. I need to design a character or somebody that that hairstyle needs to be on a character. I
Jace, I am
think.
so sorry. There we go. I need to crank this up. Let me hold on.
Hi, Raina.
Is that better? A little better?
How's
Yes.
it going?
Okay, good.
Good.
Kevin
Okay.
F. Bell, if you wear a different hat next week, I'm gonna do a backflip. This is just so I'm just so impressed. I only have flat caps because I've got this gigantic melon of a head, and it's like the only thing that fits me. So I feel betrayed, but at the same time encouraged that you can wear such gorgeous brims, dude. Just wanna
I
let you
wear a
know.
lot of cowboy hats.
Well, I need to work on that.
You need to
Out
get
with
a.
here with the
I don't know
horses.
how I would look with a cowboy.
I don't know, man. Caleb, you should try it.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool. Try it.
Well, not everybody can pull off the Bell look. All right, not everybody can slam it.
You can pull it off.
Well,
They've got flat top like cowboy hats too, Caleb.
Yep,
what?
they sure do.
What the heck is he wearing?
Yeah. No, that's I don't know about this. That's gonna be crazy. I don't know. Well, I'll gamble. Why not? All right.
I think you should try it.
Okay. Alana, look at you sharing your. Oh my gosh, look at that wrap. You guys all look so gorgeous.
Can you show? Okay, show me the wrap because I just ordered. I have one
Look at
coming
the
from
camera.
Amazon today, and I like it. Is that? Did you tie that yourself? Is it like? Did it come with a tutorial? You know how to do this already?
Just jump on YouTube.
Okay, so I have a confession.
Okay.
I did not tie this myself. Um, it looks so professional, but like
So
I did
nice.
not tie it myself. I have a bunch of wraps from the Wrap Life that I do tie myself, but this one
Life.
is like satin lined and I can literally just pull it over my head. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
I'll drop the
Looks
link.
great.
I was
Well,
gonna say you better drop that link in the chat
This
because
is
I'm all for like understanding the wrap tie,
right.
but I was doing that this morning. I had to take my sorry, we're tangenting talking, but you know,
Oh,
I had to take my daughter to school this morning for the first time all year, and I didn't do my hair. I just threw a wrap and I did it once and looked at it and it was
that
atrocious.
counts. I thought that counted.
What counts?
Putting something on your hair counts as doing it.
Well, yeah, I did, and then I had to.
Lisa agrees. 100%.
Okay. Well, I tried a bunch of times, and then I realized that I needed to up my
I've got the
not
prettiest
tying
class
game.
ever. I don't know about your classes, Larissa, but this
Yes.
half you cowards aren't showing your cameras.
Don't say
but
that.
the rest of you are just beautiful. Raina, look at you, Bronux, boom. Yeah, seriously, you guys are just amazing, killing it. Anyway,
Okay,
welcome
let's go.
back. This is going to be
Comics.
so great. Tiffany has no knot tie game. Lol. All right. Well, we forgive you. You are forgiven 100%. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. lot of stuff to talk about today. So I just want to thank you guys for turning in your, those of you that turned in your posters and your book covers and or title cards, whatever you want to call it. They are dynamite. I am just so impressed. You guys took this 2-week assignment and you knocked it out of the park. It is just so, so good. I'm going to share the homework submission folder because all y'all deserve a mighty pat on the back. The three little guinea pigs is ingenious. I mean, seriously, we would need to go through this. It would take the entire class to go through this. This is kind of amazing. I'm going to show this anyway, though, so we can.
We can still breeze through them.
What's that?
So we can still try and breeze through them.
Of course you can, but there's. Oh, I need to. Can you make me a host there, Larissa? Thank you.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry.
No, there's still, I mean, sure, if you want to, there can still be work to be done. Do not stress if you didn't get this done. This is a lot. This was a pretty ambitious little project. Not nearly as ambitious as the one we're about to do, but still, it's going to be awesome. And I am so incredibly impressed with everybody that turned it in. Just to sort of share with the rest of you what we are talking about. Let me share my screen. Yeah, Ana Velez, are you here with us? Right?
It's adorable.
Yes, this is exactly where I found them. Instagram ad, this was worth it. Yes.
That's awesome.
This is amazing. This really, really is amazing. This could be the cover for a book. Okay. I still think that using photo elements and things like that, I would rather see something more abstracted, even if it's not perfect. You know, some fun little South American cactoids or little things like that. I mean, look at that gorgeous backdrop in the background, or in the midground, I should say, with that fenced off agricultural area and the giant mountains in the background, beautifully abstracted. No, it's okay. No, your notes are not in the way. Your notes actually add something. Yeah, the plants up front should be painted, but I can totally sell their. If they're just like placeholders right now, consider making them a tiny bit bigger. But the haziness in the distance, the atmospheric perspective, oh my gosh, this is just so good. And the notes are right spot on. Even the little wolf, if it is a wolf or a coyote, it's the fact that it's got like all this color and the scarves, everything, the tiny little motifs that you see on the beanie that one of the guinea pigs is wearing. Sorry, beanie is probably not the appropriate term. But it just looks so strong. Angela Anaconda. No, I do like collage vibes. Why does that ring a bell? I'm totally drawing a blank, which is
because
so
it was the
bad.
coolest cartoon ever from like the 90s, and it had black and white cutout characters, and it was like kind of cartoony but kind
Right.
of collage.
And they did use like photo collage and things like that in it, right? Okay, it's coming back to me now. I actually feel like children's shows and children's books are probably one of the hardest things for anybody to design or illustrate, because you have to be honest and you have to be real about your storytelling, and you have to be, it has to be simple, because kids can smell a lie from a mile away. It is so easy for kids to lose focus if it's not genuine. And I feel like this is kind of amazing. I know I'm sorry, I'm using up a lot of time on this this one little assignment, but Anna just really knocked it out of the park with this. It's just
You're
so
gushing, rightfully so.
All right, agreed. Okay, yes, amazing. All right, next I want to just share Brenda's. I love this. It's perfect. We got this gorgeous big swath of space up the top for a nice big title block. I love the scattering of books. I still think that we could use, like, we've got small and we've got some mediums. We need some large ones up front. Maybe like in the lower left or something like that. Just and maybe just a tiny bit of differentiation in the values. Things are a little close. We've got a lot of white in terms of paper. We could cast some shadows on them, even if it's just like a simple little cell shade. But the fact that we've got this gorgeous character uh, that is obviously meant to be sort of falling through this beautiful purple void, everything about this is really clear. It's This is a great uh, book cover here, or a poster. I feel like everything here, again, it's very clear about what, the kind of story this is. It's very literal based. She is going to be traveling through books or stories or something like that, and she's got magic because she's got her fun little wizard hat. Yeah, everything about this is just so beautiful. Again, it could be pushed a little bit further if we include just one more level of size difference in the books. That's kind of it. Other than that, you adjust some values, and I feel like, again, this would totally be a great cover for a graphic novel or a children's book. And here we have Brenda's sketches. Yeah, you definitely pick the strongest one. Version 1 versus version 2. I feel like version 1 indicates movement and dynamism. Version 2 is a little bit more static. Even though it's really gorgeous all the same, version 1 is definitely the one I would prefer. Not that there's anything wrong with version 2. It's just the one that I would prefer. That's all. Oh my gosh, Noel, what's going on here? This is too powerful. Look at that gorgeous little abstracted quarter here. This is fantastic. And I know it's a quarter because it just is. Yeah, the colors are beautiful. Why? Because we've got some really lovely cools against warms. You can see even in the shadows here, guys, that there's like this underlying cool of the shadows where everything else is kind of warm. Even the greens are kind of warm greens.
Whose is this? Sorry.
This is Noel Wynn, I believe, correct?
Oh, okay.
I think I recognize the story. Yeah, the shadows are great. This indicates a lot of understanding of how outdoor light works, because outdoor light, like the blue of the sky, tends to diffuse or bounce off of the interiors of or the underside of objects, and it tends to cool off shadows. The opposite of what happens when we're indoors, because of all the, we're surrounded by warmth normally when we're indoors. At least that's what typically happens. But anyway, yeah, we've got some really great colors here. Everything's very subtle, very abstracted. Everything is just really, really great. And yeah, again, if you were to include this in a pitch package, it would totally be accepted. I feel like this is a great front page for any graphic novel or children's book about I want to say like a kangaroo rat or something like that has a fun little scavenging hunt mission or quest, something like that.
I have a question
Do it.
about the quarter, Noel, and its placement on the leaf. I love that the quarter is there to show like size relationship to the slug, snail, and everything. But I wonder about how, just from a technical aspect, in terms of the heaviness of a quarter and on a leaf, like if the quarter would be weighing the leaf down a little bit more at all. And I wonder if it would just be kind of more neat to have that quarter still in the image, but maybe in the dirt, maybe kind of
Like on a rock
partial,
or
or yeah, or I was just thinking like in the dirt on the ground instead. Is that, because that makes more sense. I just think if a quarter is going to fall, or if it's a nickel, sorry, whatever it is, like I just feel like it probably weigh a little bit more. I mean, I don't know about plants and how heavy leaves are, heavy duty they are. I kill all the plants that I have, so it's just a thought, and it doesn't have to move or anything. It was just my thought.
Well, Noel's here. I like the fact that it's on the leaf because it's like spotlit. And it's in this nice area of strong shadow. We can see it that it's got the relationship between the protagonist and the quarter is sort of like this really cool little subject that is obviously the star of the show. How do you feel about that, Noel? Do you agree with what Larissa said? Would you consider changing it so that like there was something different that was holding it up?
I think it makes sense that like it would have like some weight to it. I think I just placed it there because I like the composition.
I like it too. It didn't bother me at all until I realized, yeah, it would need something. Maybe if you just made it look a little thinner, or if you put it on a rock that were similarly high contrast. But
Yeah.
either
Or
way, this is stellar. It really is just great.
Or here's what I would do, and you can take it or leave it, honestly. Like I would move that adorable little snail where that quarter nickel is thing, whatever it is. And then where the little rock is right below the snail, I would have the quarter nickel thing kind of halfway buried, like kind of concealed in the dirt
Mhm.
there.
Oh.
That's just my thought.
Well, and plus it would still bring contrast to that area, and it even would give you still a little bit of bleed room down the bottom where it would say like by Noel Nguyen, Scholastic, something like that. It would be because that's who needs to publish this, is what I'm saying. You need to pitch this to Scholastic or something. You're just like whatever. They got more. They got too many. This is fantastic. I no everything about this is great. All the detail is firmly in the center 2/3. Composition wise, big thumbs up. You get a C plus, Noel. Well done.
Stop. Why don't you give somebody an A?
That lets I'm not a miracle worker. Okay?
Why are you so
Marissa?
hard on your students?
I'm just saying.
It's C plus good job.
C plus,
C plus-
good job. That's what I'm saying. Hernanda, what are you trying to do to us here? Are you seriously right, Ilana? Right? It's just what the heck. That light, the underlighting on that face, you couldn't finish. You couldn't finish. You need to calm down. Because this is too powerful. Eliza is just like, what happened here? I've got a whole Zoom class full of people just shaking their noggins, going, "What the f? What happened here?" Too strong. You need to calm down. This is great though. In all seriousness, the color. I mean, seriously, you need to. Where did you learn how to contrast? The cools and warms here. I mean, this is like the it's obvious that this is somebody with a dark complexion. They have a beautiful cloud of hair. The perspective here could use a little bit of finesse, especially with the hat. I feel like the cone of the witch's hat could be pushed back a little bit. I get that you wanted to sort of like telegraph the fact that it is a witch, but right, J Mills, am I right? Seriously, no, J Mills is right. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Totally bonkers, buzzonkers, as we say in education.
I've never
No,
said
seriously.
bazonkers in my life, but I
No,
will.
if you haven't, well, obviously I'm doing something right, and yes, hat demo, please.
I mentioned that I should do a how to draw a hat on a head demo.
That's
So
actually not a bad way to do it. I know professional artists.
that don't know how
my-
to draw hats on heads.
No, it's literally okay. My friend Claire had to do like seriously. It's just a circle intersected with half a sphere, right? That's a hat, and they literally had to put it into Maya so that they could.
Okay, I
3D.
have a that's crazy.
No, it was like a ranger's hat, literally a circle with a dome on the top of it, right?
Okay.
And they needed to draw it in perspective, and they didn't trust themselves, so they did it in 3D.
Okay.
I'm just like, it's a hat.
Yeah, but hats are hard.
I know
Caleb.
hats are hard. I know
If-
hats are hard. We need to have a hat demo. Okay, I
Okay.
will do hands and feet and shoes, and Larissa will do hats. Let's do that. Sound
I
good?
mean, I could, it's like a,
No, it's in the books. We're doing it.
it's, no, but it's like a 3-minute thing. I could cover it later.
No, we're gonna spend like an hour on it.
Are we going to obsess over it? Okay.
Yes,
We're going
absolutely.
to make,
Do
do I need to promo it? Do I need to
this is
like
just-
promote it?
Amanda, you know what? This Technicolor way of addressing light is exactly what the cinematographer and the director of photography for the movie Moonlight kept saying over and over about how to light dark complexions. You just have to create this really strong Technicolor contrast, and it's like it's not a mystery. You just need to. I feel like that contrast is just so beautiful, and you really. Same, Elisa. This is just really, really great. Yeah, we need to. Did you film this by any chance, Hernanda, so that the rest of us can stare?
We need a process video.
Yeah, we totally do. Do this again and film yourself.
Yeah, just do it again.
Yeah, just start from scratch. If you didn't do a process video, that's your fault. No, but seriously, it's really gorgeous. So many strong decisions. Perspective does need to be nudged, but other than that, it's like I don't want to touch these. These are so great. Really great job here, Hernanda. Beautiful. You also get a C+. Okay. And then we see, but at the same time, we also have like we have something that is ultimately real. Sorry, I just hit the escape key. Fola Shade, are you here today? Yes, they are. This is gorgeous too. Look at the contrast between the detail in the background and the abstraction in the foreground. I feel like there's almost like a cartoon saloon type of abstraction that's going on here. Almost like I keep thinking of that one scene in Song of the Sea, where we've got these gorgeous purples and blues and turquoises. Yeah, right. These are just not only the beautiful sky colors, but the fact that they're contrasted with these gorgeous blues and warms on the main character and on the seats and on the interior of this tram. Just beautiful choices here, and everything here is firmly inside a very specific gamut. Really, really good strategies here. There are some places where things are a little bit misaligned, or where the perspective could be nudged just a little bit, like maybe a little bit more of an inner shelf underneath some of the windows here. Again, really nitpicky stuff, but I got to tell you, oh, and do watch your hands a little bit. Again, we'll do a whole thing on hands later on. But Folashade, you guys are just killing this, and by extension, me. So great job. My health bar just went down by like 10. Mitten hands don't.
It actually starts with mitten hands. You
It
start
starts with mitten hands, but it can't end with mitten hands.
right.
Lisa, don't stop that. You're encouraging the
Mitten
bad.
hands.
Mitten hands. No, we will fix the mitten hands. All right. Johan, autumn leaves. Okay. I loved. Thank you. So, oh wait. Autumn leaf. Was that my bad joke or is this your bad joke? Either way, you need this.
It was yours.
Okay, this is gorgeous. This is great. Abduction, terrified expression, adorable costume design, adorable character design. Everything about this is great. It's not finished, but don't feel bad. This is going to be, the character here, so great. The expression, everything about this is a fantastic start. I love the choice of using these diagonals as like a beam. Very strong at the same time, very dynamic. We do need it. The bottom here doesn't need to be super duper detailed or anything. It looks like you're suggesting like grass or things like that. That's killer. Great. Maybe put some dark tree line or something like that to sort of separate the bottom 2/3 of the composition. And I feel like, again, you're practically done. The whole thing here is just beautiful. I really want this finished. Gorgeous work. The tiny little pupil is awesome. Yes, because when we're scared, our pupils contract. And obviously the character here is not having a great time. And that makes, I'll also take his anime hair. I will take his anime hair and I will fight Tiffany for it. Him, her. Oh, I beg your pardon. That's right. I will not fight you, Tiffany. You would destroy me. No, but this is fantastic work. It just needs to be a little bit finished, and it just needs to be separated with some values right around that those lower 2/3 there. This is really, really great. This makes me very happy. Don't give up, Johan. Sorry, my bad. I always revert back to phonetics. Anyway, Johan, keep up the good work. Finish this, okay? I know you can. It's a very, very strong beginning. Actually, it's more than a beginning. It's like halfway there. All right, continue. Good work. This is fantastic. Oh my gosh. So this is gouache and watercolor?
Watercolor and color pencil.
Watercolor, color pencil. Very, very nice. I love the sort of suggestive background here and the stronger values and everything in the front. We need a little bit of a stronger transition between the two. Like a little bit more blue maybe on the left side, because again, if you flipped it, you would see that almost all the blue is on this side. It doesn't necessarily need to read just like shadow. It just needs to read like things are closer up next to us, and thus the values are shifting because we're closer to the focal plane. The proportions, the character designs, mwah. Yeah, really, really good. Nice suggestion, Tiffany. It's a calming picture. Watercolors tend to do that, especially ones that are so lightly layered like this one. Watercolors are, normally when you look at watercolors classically, they tend to be done kind of gestural. They tend to be used for a lot of sketches, and as a result, they do tend to be kind of calming. But I love the fact that as we go into the background here, the exposure goes up, the detail goes down, contrast goes down, and as a result, things kind of get this beautiful sort of Instagram washed out feel. I like the contrast and details from the redhead girls to the two boys behind her and the people way in the back. Exactly. Thank you, Johan. It's exactly like that. The contrast is there. It just needs to be followed over to the left side of the composition. It reads really, really well. We're nearly there. Everything about this is great. Do you have a title for this, incidentally?
It's tentatively called Meg in the Middle. So the main character is between being a child and a teenager, and she's got bratty twin brothers.
Perfect. Guys, you're killing this. This is so great. This makes me really, really happy. It's very calming. It's very soothing. It's encouraging me to pick it up and have a look inside, just because the subject matter itself is so endearing. Does my commentary or my critique make sense though?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just follow through a little bit more. I mean, it looks like you've got some nice little wave shapes sort of indicated by the blue versus the yellow on like this beautiful sort of cool yellow, this lemon yellow. And all I would do is sort of like dig into that, find the shadows inside those waves, so that you can just indicate just a tiny bit more depth. And as we go back, have them diminish. At the moment, it's a bit abrupt. But that's really kind of it. After that, I feel like I would leave it alone.
I have a technical aspect. Here's me being nitpicky. It's me making the quarter on the leaf remark again, but it's on this one.
Please.
Sorry, Jay Mills. Okay, so having raised my own 3 kids and watching them go from non-swimmers to swimmers, that little floaty should be on the shoulder, and it looks like it's on the forearm. And so right now it looks like somebody else's arm is kind of coming up into his face, but I know it's his. So I think that for me, a more accurate depiction of that little boy would have the floaty on the shoulder instead of the forearm, and then we'd see all of the forearm coming out of that floaty, kind of like a big toilet paper tube, you know, that we'd see kind of coming towards the viewer. I think that's what
I should know that. I have 2 kids and I live at the beach, so I should have been more up on my floaty anatomy.
It's totally fine. It's a simple it's a not a mistake, but it's a something that you could correct with either with Photoshop or just by doing a second draft. This is again, part of the appeal of watercolor when done this way is its gestural immediacy, the fact that it's done in this really beautiful impromptu way. Would you be okay with doing something like that? I mean, I wouldn't want to
Oh, I can fix it in Photoshop. I'm pretty
Okay.
good at taking watercolors and fix them.
Excellent. When it comes to water, you know what? Let me write that down just really fast, because there are some great tutorials on doing water, but one of my favorite ones is from a Spanish artist named Segres, Vicente Segres. And he shows you exactly how to do just that very simple stuff using almost any media you like. It's really, really cool. Anyway, that's it. It's a gorgeous composition. Keep up the great name. I'll put it into chat here. If I can, I'll drop a link into the tutorial that he has. I believe originally it's in Spanish, but there's a kind of a klutzy translation that you can sort of see in order to sort of see how water is painted. What people tend to do is they sort of look at it like it's the facets of a gem. There are these or folds on a piece of cloth if you want. It's liquid, so as a result, there's always this little transitional edge. The inside of a wave is always darker. The lip is always lighter. Just little things like that. Cool, teenage lifeguards. They look cool. I'm not as cool as them. LaTanya Jackson, tearing it up like always. Written and illustrated by. Beautiful. Okay, A, gorgeous. B, we need more value separation, especially towards the front, with like the whale kind of getting lost a little bit in the blue of the I want to say cloth. Is that correct?
It's a paper mat.
Oh, paper mat. Okay. So gorgeous. The composition here is looking pretty great. The only thing I would do is when I squint, I want to be able to sort of move around a little bit in terms of, like, we've got this very strong, I know exactly where to look, okay? Because it's the star of the show is this gorgeous girl with the little lemur in her hand who looks a little worried, but that's okay. Once Upon a Tale. Oh my gosh, so great. Oh, that's right, because she's setting sail on this make-believe paper mat. Is the whale meant to be a doll or a toy?
Actually, all the animals are toys, and this whole story is her imagining these figurines. She's encountering them trotting across the world. So all of them are technically a toys. She's just imagining.
It's brilliant. I love the fact. I remember your color script and how immaculate it was, and still is. Some of these look a little bit more real than toys, like the trunk of the elephant. I would actually keep that there. But the only thing is that we have a little bit of competition between some of the detail, like on the ear of the elephant, the trunk of the elephant, and the star of our show here. instead of framing her, it competes with our attention, because the hair here on her head is just as dark as the interior of the trunk, and just as dark as the lion's tail and things like that. She should have the darkest darks and the lightest lights. They should be very controlled. And I feel like we need to sort of pull back a little bit on some of the details around her. Plus, we do have, they aren't really tangents, but if we could we try and pull in some of the features, like the macaw up here with the wings, and use them as framing elements as well, like having the wing come up here and go around the word once. Actually, you know what? Let me do a sketch of this, just a tiny little red line on it, after class, after my exhaustive thing here, because this is gorgeous. But I do feel like the composition does need a little bit of a massage. Would that be okay with you?
Yes, that's okay.
All right, because to be honest with you, the colors here are so gorgeous. It's just the values that need to be sort of pushed back a little bit, and mainly around the edges, because I don't want them to compete with our main character. Does that make sense, Larissa? I'm not being vague or anything? Okay. Anybody else have anything that they would like to share? There's a lot going on here. It's a beautiful composition, and it just makes me so happy. That expression, everything about this is just so glorious. There's just a lot going on. Everything becomes my favorite when I look at it.
I think also because there is a lot going on, we need a better handle on the visual hierarchy of, there's a lot of detail and a lot of color and a lot of saturation. So though my eye is kind of darting about to all the different things, which is really nice, I'm still not, like, I know that the girl is the focal point, and there's a lot of really great, like, rich colors that are happening everywhere. But I just am kind of wanting to see a little bit more of a stronger visual hierarchy in terms of tonal value, maybe.
Yeah. Remember the last week you weren't here, but I mentioned, not Alex Elise, that's a different artist. I mentioned Paul Felix and his exquisite drawings for Tarzan, and a lot of the VizDev, those graphite drawings that he did, and how a lot of them were really busy. They had a lot of characters, or they had a lot of stuff going on, but the visual hierarchy was always very clear. There was always one specific area that you were meant to look at. Do you know the one I'm talking about? The drawings that he did?
Are you talking to me, or so you're talking to?
I'm talking to Larissa.
You're talking to me. Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with Paul Felix.
Paul Felix, incidentally, was one of Larissa's instructors. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay, I was gonna say, if like we were to take this, if you were to take this into Photoshop and do a black and white tonal value of it, I probably see a lot of like darks and lights kind of all over the place. And so what I would do is just take this into black and white tonal value and increase the contrast. Like you've got the lemur's tail, which is, white and black, obviously. So that's going to call a lot of attention to itself. And the movement of the tail going up to the girl is good. But I think because like literally the tail is in the center, and it's black and white, like that is the first thing that gets my eye. And yeah. I want to be more focused on the girl, but then we've got this really intensely saturated, kind of like folded paper origami boat thing that's happening. And the beautiful, I mean, everything is so beautiful. Everything is so beautifully rendered, but in terms of visual hierarchy, what you want to think of is like, okay, what is my first major focal point? And it's the girl and the lemur. And then everything else needs to be in service of that primary focal point. So you reduce the contrast on all the things around it. And you can see that more when you convert this into a black and white tonal value image. even the panda. I mean, the panda is black and white, but it doesn't have to have white on the panda. You could like reduce that down to a like a light gray,
Yeah.
and then that will still, I mean, because it's still going to read as a panda, dark and light. It's all about relative contrast to each other.
Master studies do help a ton. You're right, Hernanda. You're right, Tiffany. Master studies are where you look at an existing work of art and you try and copy it so that you can sort of learn from their mistakes and from their strategies about how to focus or how to succeed where they did. There's lots of different, I mean, literally you can take almost any existing piece of art and try and copy it as a master study in order to figure out how they solved their own problems. But let me, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to do exactly what Larissa just said and basically just desaturate the whole thing and just turn it into like a value study and then put colors back onto it in order to see what happens.
Yeah, if we have time for that, you should do that.
All right. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. This is taken. I'm just. There's so much to look at here. But you're right. I need to mosey along here. All right, Micah, are you here with us today?
I'm not sure if Micah's
No,
here.
Micah today. They were stressed out about this earlier. Is anybody else kind of lost? I don't feel lost. I feel like this is looking kind of great. We are losing the main character who is up here. This is this fun, chaotic AI that they designed a couple weeks ago. But I do feel it's a beautiful expression. It's a beautiful character. But I would put the main character, I would drop them a little bit more into frame so that we can more clearly see that it's about the relationship between this well-meaning scientist individual and this kooky program. Other than that, I really love. Yeah, exactly. There's practically no competition. The main character is almost completely obscured. So as a result, we think it's about this gorgeous character up here in front, but it's really meant to be about the two of them. Again, this could be solved with a value study. I feel like this, there needs to be more competition between what's going on here, and maybe just the eyes of the character. Maybe they're wearing glasses and they could be reflecting what's going on here, and that's what brings us up there. Yeah, exactly. It's at the moment it is a big X, and instead it needs to be more of like an S instead of an X. It needs to draw our eyes up to the main character first, almost, and then to the AI, or vice versa. All right, but nevertheless, that's where I would go with that. Again, look to the examples that we put into the resources folder last week in terms of looking at really good examples of how to draw the eye just using values. Noel, did you change it already? You didn't, did you? No, you didn't. Okay, good. Phew. Tazia, are you with us today? Yes. All right. Really strong composition here. I really, really like it. What time is it? Okay. Little freaky. This is it's obviously meant to sort of, this is I'm looking at all the strong diagonals. Immediately I'm like, I'm not sure this is a good story. I love the hair. The character is great. The eyes looking at the character from all these ticking clocks. Very Salvador Dali, very persistence of time. Yeah, this is and the nails. I love the sharp rectangles as well there. The only thing I would do next on this is I would, again, try and figure out where you would want to put values. It does look a little static, and mainly just because I would try and, I don't know, I feel like there's maybe have one or two, if I had my druthers, I would put the back of a couple of these clocks again and just have them be almost like just flat black or as close to black as you wanted to. The texture of the puffs is fantastic, yes. But to make it look like she's surrounded, or that they are surrounded by clocks, not just from behind, unless that's maybe one of the things you wanted to do, is that she's being pursued. Am I reading that correctly? Is she meant to be pursued or surrounded by clocks? Does it make a difference? Oh, Tasia, you're muted. I can't hear you. Oh, you need to.
I can barely hear Taja.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Can
Say
you
again? You're
can you
muted now.
type?
Or just put it into chat. That's fine too. Not to worry. I love the one eye revealed. In the story, she thinks it's morning, but it's really nighttime. Oh, okay, okay. We need to play around with values on this. This needs to be a, what is the, so she thinks the world is ending or something. Lol. We need to play around with what kind of colors and values you want to do with this. Is it meant to be dark or is it meant to be light? Are the rays in the background, is that meant to be light, do you think? Dark with light around her. Okay, all right. Would you mind doing a value study of this? Just, again, like maybe shadows coming in from around the edges, and maybe she's like the source of light in the center. Would you mind doing something like that? Yes. Cool. Tasia, this is great. I love this concept. Really, really strong. Don't worry what I said about adding another layer in front of the main character. I would much rather see just like a little value study. Just take some pencil and like do what we did with the do what I suggested we do with the Paul Felix drawings, and just sort of shade in from the corners in order to you know, figure out where the shadow would not hit on the main character. Other than that, really, really strong idea. I love the concept, but it does need some values there to sort of punch it up a little bit. Okay, great. Good work, Tasia. Tiffany. Look at these gorgeous peeps. Oh my gosh, there's actual like lens flare going on in the eyes. I don't know how I feel about that. But Tiffany, I do feel like it's looking really strong. I feel like this is the juxtaposition of the upside down, of the you know, two characters coming from different ways. Obviously, they have not a lot in common at the beginning, but they learn to get along and be pals. Am I reading that correctly, Tiffany? Yay! Yes, it definitely has the sort of look of very fruit basket to me. I don't know what that is. Is that a manga? Manga? I said manga. Shame on me.
I've only seen them in my
kiss.
kids' room, so
Manga.
in the library.
Don't make
but-
fun of me. Ugh. No, you can totally make fun of me. I deserve it. I'm sorry, Selena. Make fun. It's a mango. What's wrong with me? Anyway, I love this. I do feel like I've kind of seen this before, but I do. But you know what? Derivation is never really a bad thing, so long as it's entirely yours. So maybe is there something about the characters? Did you invent these? Or is this something that, you know, is this a story that you just made up for this assignment or for this class rather? Just a sec. No problem. I will be wrapping this up very shortly. I'm sorry it's taken so long.
I think you're being very thorough. That's good.
All right, so I made just for class. Awesome. If you can, when I squint, the values tend to be sort of, I don't know, they tend to, there's tends to be a lot of competition. There isn't a lot of separation between the values. If possible, I would like to put a little bit of shadow, since they are meant to be like lying on their backs. Would you mind putting just a little bit of dark greenery underneath them? Again, because they're looking up into the sun. Yeah, just something really, really simple. Yeah, the girl is the same value as the grass underneath them. Yeah, the hair, if I squint, there's a lot of competition between the values. Like literally the darkest value here are the eyes, and it should be a little bit more well-rounded. There should be something a little bit more that in terms of like um, competition is very, very light in terms of value. We need to darken them up just a little bit. The addition of a little shadow layer behind them, casting shadow onto the grass, like literally just a tiny bit here, just a little ring around them. There is a suggestion of that already, but you need to go further. Don't be afraid of making it look shadowy or scary or anything like that. That's, shadow is just there to make it look, again, remember what Noel did here. Okay, this is a very sunny moment. It's not scary, but there's a lot of shadow, and it sort of helps us sort of break up the composition. It's mainly there to, and all you need to do, you don't have to add black in order to create shadow. What you could do, especially for an outdoor scene like this, is you add blue. And you set it to like a multiply layer if you're doing it digitally, or with watercolor, you would just add some blue, like I don't know, like a Prussian blue or something, or a pain gray or something like that, something that's a little cool. Okay. The boy character is light, his hair is dark, it's calling more attention to the girl. Yeah, there is definitely some competition between the two of them. She, honestly, because her values are so middle of the road, it almost looks like the boy is resting on top of her. He looks more dimensional than she does. We need some rounded shadows here, just something in order to suggest some value separation. Yes. Yeah, using a separate layer, paint on it in blue on top of the grass, using and set the layer blending mode to multiply. All right, I've been wanting to talk about this all week. Yaya or Maya, however you want to be referred to, is Yaya okay?
Yeah.
Tiffany, you are so welcome, Tiffany. All right, Yaya, I love this. You're not the first person to take the inspiration behind informal subdivision and turn it into a sort of like a stained glass concept. This works so well. Yeah, Larissa does this all the time, except instead of being like rigid lines, Larissa's tend to be almost all like beautiful, huge contours and curves. Yep, curvilinear lines, perfect. This is a great concept and I love it. I wouldn't do it. I honestly don't know what I would change. Maybe break up the red with like a little bit of purple. I don't know, maybe vary it just a tiny bit, or maybe throw some kooky texture in occasionally to make it look like some of the glass came from a different source, or that there's like a different material behind it. It depends on how realistic you want to make the glass look. But to be honest with you, it's really, really strong. Is the black the monster? It does look like it has ears.
Yeah, that's the monster.
Okay, boom, you nailed it. Story told, communicated. And not only that, but they have this beautiful sort of, in comics work, we call this the halo. When you put it, when you surround something with a white line like that, it actually works really well here. A lot of times people are like, you're cheating with a halo. You're separating the values using just a line like that. I honestly love it here. Annika Legasp. What is it? So strong. Anybody have anything that they want to share with Yaya here? Nothing.
I would say something.
Go for it.
So stained glass, I love this idea. I think like what I would suggest is maybe instead of using flat colors and just that kind of texture that's happening in there, is kind of varying the color in each segment, just a slight touch.
Yeah.
from like one section to another, the way glass kind of varies from dark to light. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
And you could literally just take like select out one section and then using the lasso tool, and then use your gradient paint bucket gradient tool, and then just take a slightly darker color or a slightly lighter color, or maybe even shift the hue just a little bit, and put a gradient in some of those little segments, and that would kind of bring a little bit more variation
Yep.
to the stained glass look.
There are also, if you want to, you could put it. It needn't be like a flat gradient or a smooth one. If you want to, you get like a gritty brush, and it looks like you've got some really cool texture going on here. I would punch it up a little bit, but yeah, these are all very warm. Throw in a little bit of cool in the occasional segment here. Maybe, like I said before, a little violet perhaps around the edge. Maybe, I don't know, but it's like you've got some really strong value differentiation on the interior of the characters, and I mean, obviously that's what makes them pop. Not only that, but yes, somebody here said the colors of the outfits are fantastic, and they absolutely are. The variation of the values on the faces, like it's suggesting that they are three-dimensional, but they're not. It's there's a lot of stuff to like in this composition. It makes me very happy to look at. But yeah, I honestly think Larissa's right. We can vary this up in the background just a little bit in order to make it look a little. It needn't look like sky, but I mean, just in order to vary it up a little bit, in order to make some warm, some cool, and not by a lot, just a little bit.
I mean, if you zoom out just a little bit more,
Yeah.
actually zoom out all the way, and if you look at just on the very top left where the yellow is, and in the back, like you've got kind of a variation of
Oh, yeah.
color and light there. And I think if that kind of happened throughout, I think that would work better. And I honestly wouldn't have the texture on that. I would probably I'd either keep it flat and use the variation of color, or I'd paint the texture in using a brush, because right now the texture feels like it's laid in, like on an overlay layer. I would probably paint the texture in instead. That's what I would do. But I agree with you. Everything else is really strong. The halo, the tonal values, the silhouette of the characters. I think the compositionally it looks really nice. My only suggestion was just on the rendering.
Yeah, same. Great job, Yaya. Seriously, high five.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great concept, great execution. Really nitpicky comments from Larissa and myself about like tweaking this thing, that, and the other. Other than that, beautiful work. Would you like a C+?
Yes, please.
Done. Expect it in the mail. It'll be there in like 7 weeks. Beautiful work. Okay. Look at this amazing stuff. Yeah, Dasani, I do love this sketch. It's a fridge, obviously. It does look a little static. I would probably try and maybe, what's something we can use to break this up? Maybe if the rectangles weren't all parallel or perpendicular to each other, if we crooked them up a little bit, if some of them were a little dangly, and if some of them were actually kind of chained, like here we've got some Polaroids obviously that are kind of chained, like this one's tilting to the left, this one's to the right, left, right. Have some of them overlap. And if you do that, I actually feel like it'll actually bring us further. It'll draw our eye, or it doesn't necessarily need to be all the Polaroids. Put some magnets up there or some stickers or something like that in order to sort of chain these little articles down the composition. Because at the moment, everything's kind of framed almost like a Mondrian or something like that. It's very gridded. So let's try, make the picture on the bottom look like the kid put it on, and it's crooked. Exactly. Try and mess this up a little bit. It's too tidy at the moment. See if you can't stagger some of these things. Other than that, it's a really strong concept. But it's just a little too parallel. Everything's just a little too aligned. And
Okay.
that's kind of it. Indicate a little bit more overlap. Change the angles of some of these things. And I guess that's kind of it, at least at the first. Address that with another sketch, and then pop it in here so we can have a look at it. Okay.
All right.
Don't be discouraged. You're doing great, Dasani. We will be here regardless of how much work you do or don't do. Okay. We will help you. Excellent. Yeah, but you have to try. If you try your best, we will always be there to support you. All right.
New stuff.
New
It's 4
stuff.
o'clock.
Oh man, we got a half an hour to do this. So let's tear it up. We are going into our big finish here. 5 weeks. Because DTM. I love it. Welcome back. That's you. Yes. Here's what I want you guys to talk about right now. I want you guys to take a deep breath, close your eyes, find center, find your little comfy, your sweet little animal inside you. I'm a fuzzy bear. I don't know what you guys are, but we are now going to dive deep into comicdom for the last 5 weeks of class. Larissa's a panda. Hernanda's a cat. I love it. We are all beautiful little animals. I'm pretty sure Latanya is a elephant / panda / lemur.
Possum. Who's a possum all the time? Oh my gosh.
Joy is a capybara. Possum all the time. Look at you. Wait a minute.
Wait, what was that,
bring
J
back up
Mills?
here. What
What
was
was
that?
that?
Was that your animal? You are a horrible rat, and that's totally fine. You are.
That's a possum.
100%.
I think that's okay. If the possum was
it's a
as
possum.
cute.
Oh my god. Okay.
If the possum was as cute as that,
Really-
I'd be okay with being the possum.
I saw that possum, and immediately went to the noise that creature would be making. It's like, something like that. Jay Mills is like, that's not what possums sound like. I don't sound like that. I am offended. I am North America's only marsupial. Lisa, you are a font of knowledge, and I am here for it. It's like Octonauts all up in here. Okay, let's tear this up. Octonauts, by the way,
You're gonna make me
fantastic.
sing the song now.
Yep, is a fantastic preschool aged television show. I learned so much from that thing. It's not even funny. Great character design too. All right, comics layout. Let's do this. I have seen Octonauts. Of course you have, Angel, because you have a brain in your head and you have a heart in your chest. That's why. Okay. All right, let's just jump jump right into the deep end. All right, here is your assignment for next week. All right, you are going to take your story and you're going to sketch about 20 panels, something between 15 and 20. It sounds like a lot. It's really not. Okay? 15 to 20 panels. You may be thinking to yourself, what the heck is a panel? I'm going to show you. Okay? The only requirement, Hernandez like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Embrace it. Embrace the chaos. You're going to use either a typical page layout for a paper comic book, or you can use what'll be called an infinite comic, and we'll give you some examples of that later on as well. We're going to be using the next 5 weeks for this, so do not stress. For next week, all I really want are some sketches, okay? We're going to talk about the page itself as a composition and the individual little panels on the page as smaller compositions. And you're going to be encouraged to make mistakes, have some fun with it. And I'm going to show you tons of examples here. Okay, so do not fret. I'm going to hop back into my other screen here.
I just wanted to reiterate that 20 panels does not mean
20
20 panels on a
panels.
page. It's 3 pages. So if you were to do that, like maybe 6 or 7 panels per page.
Yeah. Well, not a lot of
Roughly.
people even know what a panel is. So
Okay.
let me show you guys what it is that I'm talking about. In order for me to really start talking about comics, it's probably important that I talk to you guys about some books that you could read to help you guys out. My favorite book to get people sort of started on it is Understanding Comics by
Scott McCloud.
Yep. Scott McCloud. That's it. Scott
Sorry.
McCloud. No, you did a great job there.
Everything I type is on caps, so it seems like I'm screaming
No,
in the chat
please,
all the time.
Never stop. Where did my? Here we go. Hold on.
Oh, I might have that book. Here's
I know
another
I have
book.
it. It's in my bag.
Is Making Comics by Scott McCloud.
Ooh,
But
these-
that's also a good one. Selena says, is 3 pages the max? Because if it's a large panel to use, no, 3 pages is not the max. It's an average. So if you have like 2 panels per page, then obviously you're going to have to do lots more pages than
yeah. Oh my
to get
God.
to the 20 pages. Or if you have 3 panels per page, don't try to necessarily make it about the page count. Make it about the way that you're dividing up your story on per panel. And then also maybe we can talk a little bit about why you would put certain panels on one page and then why you would put the next set of panels on another page about page turning.
We're going to be talking a lot about all that over the next 10 minutes or so. Okay. So this is Scott McCloud doing a little comic version of himself, very flattering, talking about comics. Okay. The reason why comics are so cool is because comics, unlike almost any other art form, yeah, he looks nothing like that. He is an old man now, and I don't believe he ever looked like that. Is that what happens here in this panel, happens before what happens here in this panel. So you've got, and then this happens before this panel. All right. The idea is that it's kind of like, it's not just a composition, it's also like a song or a poem. It takes place in time as well. And the way that it takes place in time is that there's space in between the panels. This is known as the gutter. See that little space right there? Almost all comics have a little space in between the individual little panels. And that indicates that this takes place before this and this takes place before this. Another thing that happens in comics is that there's a level of abstraction. Making comics or understanding, I would probably get Understanding Comics first. Making comics is more about the disciplines in, it's a little bit more technical. Understanding is about the art form itself and about the history of comics. So it's like, it's not just about like, Superman or Batman or whatever. It's about like how manga developed, how artwork in South and Central America is very sequential, and how it too is like a comic. How doing sequential images is an art form that evolved on different continents, almost at the same time or in centuries apart, but almost everywhere you can see examples of it over thousands of years. The whole book is also written as a comic. This is why abstraction is important. And this is why Larissa and I are constantly encouraging you guys to keep things simple and abstracted. When you put a lot of detail into things, it becomes specific. And it's harder for people to project themselves onto the characters or the situations. When you keep things abstracted, it's a lot easier, because detail can then be implied or projected on by the reader. On the left, this doesn't represent anybody here in this class. But on the right, this could be anybody. literally anybody. And that allows you to project yourself onto something that is abstract and more or less suggestive. All right, so remember that when you're creating your own comics and your characters, if you please. Comicception. Y'all, yo, dog, you want some comics in your comics? Okay, so let's talk about layout. The simplest comics have, almost all comics use some kind of grid. And the way that the reason why is because that's the way that they have been, introduced into popular culture over the past 100 years or so. It's very easy to create a grid on a piece of paper, and that's how comics typically have been sort of passed around and distributed. They were printed. And as a result, not only that, but it also reminds us of a proscenium stage, like in theater. There's a frame around it, and those individual frames are called panels. Here there are 6 panels on this page by Eric Amon, and they're all hand drawn. This is sort of like an autobiographical comic that they used to write called Dar. And the idea was that they literally just had a sketchbook, and they would do, every week or a couple days, they would put another thing on their blog, and it would be in comic form like this. Same thing with Shannon Garrity, Narbonic. These are all like 15, almost 20 years old in some cases. But the idea, again, you can see that this was designed to be read left to right. Left to right, and that the panels, they all have little gutters in between, but that the author created these long sort of horizontal strips and then divided them depending on how much dialogue and the action on the inside would be going on. All right, you don't have to do it that way, nor do you have to do it this way. You don't have to have a 6 panel grid. You don't have to have, these long strips. This is Black Sad by Juan Diaz Canales and Juanjo Juanido. These two guys are Spanish. The artist was the designer and the key animator of Scar from The Lion King. And that's one of the reasons why his characters are so beautiful and so beautifully designed as well. And the whole thing is hand drawn. The whole thing is hand colored. It's all watercolor and gouache rather. Lots of beautiful hand drawn ink on top of it. And it takes them a long, long time to do this. Seriously, each one of these pages is probably, at least maybe 2-3 weeks, depending on how complicated they are, each page. Okay, because each one has to be, because this is Juanjo Juanido. Okay, he creates a color script, again, done in watercolor, and Larissa ain't got time for that. No, nobody does. That's why these guys, it takes them 3 years to make a single graphic novel. They're gorgeous and they're works of art, but part of the reason why comics are so great is because you have to work efficiently. Okay. Also, Juanjo Juanido is doing all the work himself, literally all of it. Comics in America tend to be broken up in a sort of assembly line sort of thing. There's a penciler, there's an inker, there's and I'll take an hour and a half to read the entire book. There's a penciler, there's an inker, there's a colorist, there's somebody who does editing, there's somebody who does lettering. And the whole idea is that you can come up with a 22-page book every month. Instead of taking, 2 weeks to do 1 page, you can do a whole book in 2 weeks. Yeah, flatter, color artist, penciler, it's just a ton of work. Yeah, and then Adam Hughes takes a long time, but to be honest with you, I've heard normally it takes on average, a penciler 1 day to do 1 page. On average. But I mean, look at the work here. Just so, so beautiful.
Do you want to know how long I have to do my final art?
I do. Larissa, how many pages can you do in 1 day?
I don't know, but I know how many I have to do. So I'm
How
gonna
many do you have to do?
1.5 pages of final art per day.
1.5. Good
Yes,
grief.
with
That's penciled, inked, and colored, right?
well, they're already penciled. So this I'm talking about
Well, you're
final arts.
painting them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Jay Mills paints is like, what are you doing teaching?
I don't know.
Oh, Jace, good question. Does that include the dialogue and everything in lettering?
I am not doing the lettering. I am just doing the color and the inking. And it's actually not even inking. I don't have an inking. My art director said that they liked my pencil sketches because they were so tight that she actually did not like my inks.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm just gonna do my pencils and then my clean pencils and my color art on top of that. So at least I have a step to skip, which is nice. And then I am hiring my daughter to do the flat color, and that's going to help a lot too.
well, yeah. And Annie Kirk one just said Raina Telgemeier does like 3 pages a day. That's because they have their thing. Raina Telgemeier has been cranking these things out for the better part of like 15 years. Yeah, get your kids trained on flatting and coloring your stuff there, J Mills. And yeah, they do. And Raina Telgemeier has assistants. They have freelancers doing every other step. All they need to do is the penciling. And there's nothing to those pages. It's literally just lines. Yeah, they don't have to do anything else. This is the Resonator. Well, the idea is that the panels are all the same size here for the most part. They occasionally are broken up by horizontals. The way the panels work, the bigger the panel, the more detail you can squeeze into it. So that's how long people tend to stay on those. If a panel is smaller, like this one here, it typically means that you can sort of skip over that, or not skip over it, but you spend less time on it. A larger panel like this big horizontal one here in the middle of the page typically means that that's going to be a lot of establishing detail. We get to see a lot of the environment there. It slows you down, in other words. This is meant to speed you up. This is meant to slow you down. And when you have panels that are all mostly the same size, it's harder to do that. It's you're putting the control more in the hands of the reader rather than the writer. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'll give you guys lots of examples here in a minute. Yeah, and then there's something like this where you've got Adam Kubert, and it's like you've got lots of vertical ones, and it's a lot harder to read. You need to be able to keep control over how your characters read your comics. When you've got tangents or crazy things popping in and out of frame, it can make things a little chaotic. Keep it simple. Oh, and here is Watchmen. Larissa loves Watchmen. Literally, it's a 9-panel grid. And you can see the bottom one here is literally those bottom 3 panels just sort of glued together. Very good. The entire book is like this. Every page, done by Dave Gibbons, is a 9-panel grid that has been with some small modifications here and there like this one. The entire book. Oh yeah, it's very good. Excellent TV show, Joy. This is The Sandman, written by Neil Gaiman. And here we have, the whole thing is horizontal panels, but some are smaller. Again, they're sort of zoomed into the characters in order to, so good they can't ruin the series or the movie. The idea is that you've got these smaller ones that are, again, there's not a lot of background to them. We've got the establishing shot, some dialogue. You're meant to read these rather than really look at the art. And then we slow them down at the end of the page again. Okay, so let's recap. These are panel breakdowns done by Alan C. Ecker, who went literally through tons of comics and analyzed the layout of the pages. This is Making Comics by Scott McCloud, which is the first one we looked at. Again, you can kind of see that it's a grid. It's a 4x3 that Scott McCloud kind of altered with, some modifications. Then there's Black Sad, which literally has no rhyme or reason. It's gorgeous and it's super easy to read, but it takes them forever to do it. All right. Then there's the Resonator, that one we were looking at before. The whole thing, again, is mainly a 4x3 grid with modifications because it's mostly, we've got dialogue that are mostly broken up by these horizontal panels. There's Narbonic, which is just horizontals that are broken up into tiny little segments. The Sandman one is very dense, but that's Neil Gaiman. You buy it for the reading rather than the artwork for the most part, even though the artwork could be exquisite. Ultimate X-Men, Kubert and Kubert. It's, again, neither rhyme nor reason, but this one's really hard to read. I mean, look at this last page. You're literally meant to go from one. It's hard to sort of figure out how you're meant to do these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess. It's very difficult. And then there's Watchmen. You can set your watch by it. Oh, but seriously, and you're like, was it really necessary? It's literally just a bunch of, it's 9-panel grids. Sorry, Larissa. Sorry, Hernanda. I'm sorry, all of you. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay, so that is panel layout. What I want you guys to do for next time, I want to show you guys one that I did for a little, a very small little project that I did a couple of years ago, but I was really happy with. All right, so a friend of mine wrote a script that had the character of the Sandman, which we just saw, which is a creation, or not really a creation. No, really, it was a creation of Neil Gaiman, and he comes up against Thor from Marvel Comics. The idea was that if I did like a little sample comic, like a little 5-pager, and shared it at Comic-Con, it has a character from DC, it has a character from Marvel. It'll interest people from both companies. And it worked. Okay, so first off, though, I had to come up with a grid. Before that, though, I had to have a script. I asked my other friend, Caleb, who, I know, weird, right? There's 2 of us, to come up with a script. He knocked it out of the park in like 5 hours at work. It was seriously like literally 1 page. I'll share it to you. I'll drop it into the folder so you guys can read it. Caleb Monroe just did a beautiful job. I looked at the script and I sort of broke it up into panels. Now, this page here, I want you guys to look at this. What does a comic script generally look like? I will show you guys after I talked with you about this. It looks like a screenplay for the most part, but with a couple of little modifications. So I drew my little paneled grid here. Here's panel 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. On average, there's about 4 or 5 panels per page. And you can sort of see that the page itself is even broken up kind of by rule of thirds and rule of fours. So you can see that, there's like, there's the dividing gutter in the half here. There's 1, 2, these 2 are done by thirds. There's a little offset one here because something is meant to pop out at us. But the whole thing here, and I'll drop this page that I use into the resources as well. Yeah, the steps are script, then you do a quick little grid or layout, and then you do some doodling inside. Okay, so it starts off with this lady looking over at somebody who's talking to her. Somebody comes crashing in between them. They look outside. Oh no, demons. There's demons walking down the street, as you do, because it's New York. That's what happens. We've got a skyline, which I grabbed from a Google image. There's lightning. Big monster says, turns around, and here comes Thor. A kersmoosh. And this is the big punchy panel. All the glass on the entire city block is destroyed because of the force of the blow. Thor's like, oh no, more demons. He swings his hammer, takes up into the sky, is about to swing around and confront them. Here's the Sandman. He's been watching this. He waves his hand, and the demons evaporate, and Thor is turned into a tiny little children's doll, which he picks up, walks through his you know, his delightful little Sandman-y neighborhood with his DC characters, Jack Pumpkinhead and a couple fairies. We have like a little surreal landscape thing, which I again sort of photo bashed, like an endless stare and some fun little things for him to interact with. And when he reaches the top of the stair, he finds himself in a tiny little children's room with like a bookshelf and a little basket of toys and a child on a toddler bed who looks restless. And he tucks the little Thor doll into their arm, and in comes Mom as he disappears. And Mom is the woman from page 1. Except now she's got a little cut on her forehead. She's got a boo-boo. So we're meant to think, huh, did that happen? Or was it all a dream?
Cool.
Ooh, right? Okay, so let me show you. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I'll show you guys my finished work here. Okay, so that's page 1. This is what you guys don't have to do by next week. But this will be the result, right? Page 2, remember? Skyline, monster going, and then here comes Thor, a kersmoosh. Oh, thank you, Joy. There was like, zounds, more demons, yes. He takes off into the sky, does his little fun little hammer thing. He swings around, and remember, and you can sort of see that each panel is meant to lead us into the following one. We go down here, here's Dream. Just from the direction Dream's looking, we know we're meant to look over to the next panel. And he's like, interesting. Very British, very standoffish. And he waves his hand, they all dissolve, and there's a little Thor toy. Dunk. He picks up the Thor toy, walks through his friendly neighborhood dreamscape. People are collecting carnivorous fruit, because that's what happens. And yeah, we've got a fun little surreal neighborhood that he walks through with an endless stair. He climbs up the endless stair. And then at the top of the next page, there he is. Oh, I switched the perspective here. I thought it would be a little bit better to lead us into the page if it took us in a little bit of a curve. But also eventually I wanted to silhouette the child sort of curled up on his bed. And he sits down next to him, tucks the little doll into his arm. He's less restless, and here comes Mom with the boo-boo on her forehead. And right behind us, and you can't really see it in these scans, but I drew a Thor poster on his wall because he's a Thor fan.
Perfect.
You know, and this is how the Sandman would defeat evil. It's not something, he doesn't fight things. He literally is, he knows he's just a concept who, and he deals with dreams, right? This is how Thor really defeats evil, through the imagination of a kid. Pretty cool, right?
That's really cool.
All right, so, but first, we have to start with this. All right, so next week, come up with some, a beginning, a middle, and an end of about 20 panels or so. Photo bashing just means I grab a bunch of photos and sort of collage them together using Photoshop. So a lot of people are like, I don't know how to draw street scenes. I'm like, can you use Google Maps? And they say, yes. I'm like, then you can grab some photo ref of a street scene. Easy. And it's even in perspective for you. You know, it's easy. They're like, well, the street scene I need is in Tokyo. I'm like, they have Google Maps in Tokyo. Do it. Just go to a fun, busy intersection in, some district in Tokyo and screen grab that thing. It makes it super easy. And they'll be like, so fun. I'm like, right? I don't know how to draw cars. buy a toy car, or go to a 3D model site like Sketchfab and look one up for free and just spin it until you find the right angle. But honestly, I'd say buy a toy car first, probably, because then you have a toy car. That's fun.
Annie
You
Kirk
have a
has a question.
Do it, Eddie.
Oh yeah, so real quick, for those of us who didn't finish the completed colored versions of the poster, do you want us to post it in the most recent week folder or week 7?
Put it into most recent week folder. That way we can sort of we can keep up to date with it.
Okay.
Actually, but you know what? It's more work. If you can, do both. Would you mind doing that?
Do both of what?
Like if they update an old assignment.
Oh, okay.
Just put it into the most recent folder. We would love to see it in the most recent folder, but also update it in the one that it was assigned, or the one where it was due.
I have an announcement. I forgot.
Do it.
Okay. Learning art share, not art share, social media. Okay. I'm going to send out an email with more details. But next week on Wednesday at 9 a.m. on Twitter and on Instagram, I would love if you guys could share your most recent work that you are excited about, that you learned something, really amazing from in this class, or if you're in any of our other classes. We want to promote what you guys are doing. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yes, Johan.
Good job, Johan.
Thank you. So on that day, we're going to, if you post on Instagram, we're going to create a highlight on OC Art Studios Instagram account, and then make sure that you tag OC Art Studios on Instagram. And if you're going to post it on Twitter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one main tweet, and then you would reply in the tweet thread. And so we have, and then you'd retweet. One long, gorgeous scroll of everyone's artwork. And I would love it if you could do that, if you want to participate. That way everyone can see what you're doing, what you're learning, maybe even share something about what it is that you learned in that one piece. So more details will be coming in your inbox this weekend. But think about what pieces you want to show. If you want to show one from this piece, from this class, and in your another class, you can show something from another class. It's whatever you want to share, okay? But just wanted to let you guys know we're going to be doing that.
Excellent. And please mention something about the art in class. Not that I'm teaching you guys how to make horrible jokes. Nobody wants to read that crap. People, maybe somebody does, but it's not going to be what we discuss in the thread.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to rage at me for my terrible, horrible puns, that's cool. Do it not in the hashtags. You can DM me that stuff. I live on it. Johan will be like, "You have caused me damage."
I was just looking at the sky because now it's getting dark.
Yeah.
That's
Johan.
But yeah, please be careful if you're outside and it's dark.
There are lots of people here.
Okay. Come for
all right.
With bad jokes. Is that really why you're here, Jamie? No.
All right, it's 4:35. We gotta let these people
I know,
go.
we gotta bolt. I'm gonna drop all this junk, including my script that I didn't write. The other Caleb, the evil Caleb, wrote, and so you guys can check it out. J Mills is like, the evil Caleb. Does he have a goatee? No. Tethered Caleb. Oh man. Zing. Is that it? What reference is that? You know what? I don't know. It's a nerd joke.
I didn't share my stuff today. Should I share it next week?
Please do. Well, no. Us. Oh my God, that's right. Oh Jesus. If you have 5 minutes, could we please share your work?
Okay. If you sure,
is?
I'll share you guys. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the stuff that I'm working on in my graphic novel. If you have to go, that's fine. I totally understand because it's 4:36.
Yeah, I did that.
That's all right. Okay, so we're going to screen share. Okay. So first off, I'm going to share. These are first the thumbnails. Okay, so the thumbnails. These are thumbnails. All right, so my thumbnails are, this is basically a breakdown of the panels. why isn't this zooming in? Um,
Look at the dialogue spaces that she's left behind
yes.
there. That's for
So-
you, J Mills Paint.
Yeah, so this is a sequence of and what I want you guys to notice is how the panels are kind of divided up. Because this is a middle grade graphic novel, I was limited to, I originally had like maybe 8 or 9 panels on the page, but the art director and the editor said that we needed to cut a lot, so we moved it down to like 6 or 7 panels per page. So you can see where it's horizontal, it's more of a landscape shot. Shorter panels are like 1, 2, 3. This is a shorter amount of time that's happening. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you these dialogues, open dialogue bubbles. And then also these thumbnails, this was me just kind of planning what was going to happen in each shot, and then how much space was going to be dedicated to each panel. And I didn't really plan out dynamic paneling gutters or anything like that, but I will show you how I did in the next stage for the sketches, which is here. So
Well, the ones I'm going to put into the reference folder will have those little dividers on them, so it'll make it easier to make gutters.
yeah, so this
look
is,
at that. That's so cool.
yeah, so for this is more of an action scene, so there's a lot happening. So the panels are diagonal. Everything's askew, even this one here with this reaction, the diagonal panels there. And so in the next one, you can see how the panels are off kilter. They're very large, and in fact, you can't tell the edges of the page, but these panels, boom and the boom, these go all the way to the edge of the page, whereas these ones are floating panels and they're kind of off-centered. So then here we have all these 3 panels here, the large ones in the back are all the way extended to the page, where these ones are floating inside. And so you have the reaction from the dad and the kids in the background, and then their spaceship lands FUD. And then after that, everything's kind of more calm. So now we go back to the regular horizontal panels, and yeah, so you can see how everything is kind of spaced after that. And we have a small panel inset with another panel here. And I think this is kind of like the last ones here, where everything, this one is just super basic structure, 6-panel page, but that's because we're getting into the more routine of what's happening. And then we go into more horizontal to see where they've landed, where they've crash landed. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share. But looking at the dialogue bubbles and the thought bubbles, just spacing it out so you know you've got to make sure that you're planning out your characters and where the dialogue bubbles are going to go. And you'll talk about more of that next week, I'm sure, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, would it be possible for you to share some of these?
No, that's why I have to share it online here. I cannot pop it.
Okay.
This is, no, I cannot.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, I will put whatever I've got into the reference folder as well. And if I can find any other examples of just really quick sketches, I'll drop it in there as well, so you guys can sort of see how to do your layouts for next week. Yeah, this is not meant to be detailed. Again, it's mainly just like fun little sketchy examples of the more important thing is like the grid itself, like how you want to move from this panel to this panel, and then you can say, okay, well, this one's going to be sort of like dialogue, then this one's, you know, we get to see the environment, and then we move back into people chatting and stuff like that. But anyway, it's 4:40. You guys have been so patient. Thank you guys so much. Get your head into comics, read some comics if you are unfamiliar, if you want to. There are lots of examples out there. And oh man, we've got even more to discuss as well. Oh shoot. But that'll have to wait till next time. All right. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Come up with your sketches for your layouts, and I will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. You're muted there, Rena.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Marissa, Caleb.
You're doing great. How's Dahlia? Where's Dahlia?
That's
Are they
over
at
there
Disneyland
working
already?
on her comic.
Okay.
I can come say hi.
Perfect.
Oh, here,
Mhm.
actually, let
Working
me
on her
I
comic.
do this so and then turn that volume. There we go.
I dig that shirt that you're wearing.
It's actually a jump. It's like it's a onesie.
What?
Yeah, I got it from ModCloth.
That's so
COVID
cool.
comfort. COVID comfort and cool.
Yep.
Can that actually happen? It is.
Does it have
Look
one of
at
those
you.
onesie fanny windows or what is it?
Oh God, stop, Caleb. Caleb.
Real old school, Caleb.
Yep. Like, like the
The
Bugs
flap
Bunny
in the
cartoons
back.
where it's like got a button on the no.
God.
But it's got pockets.
It's got pockets, so that's good.
Pockets bonus. That's good. So everything's
That's
good.
awesome.
Things are
Mm.
happening.
Did you get your? Are you starting at Disneyland yet?
I did get the call today. We are luckily my union arranged it so the first callback you are able to decline
Wow,
without
wow.
punishment. So
Without punishment.
yeah.
Are they offering you the vaccine shot?
No, but I am scheduled to get the vaccine on Sunday for the first
Okay.
one.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I signed up
Yay.
for all that stuff. Yeah, it still boggles my mind that they're not like, we should vaccinate everyone before bringing them back.
Such a strange concept. What is that?
I think
What
it's
is that?
because-
Common sense.
I think it's because they already have like downtown Disney open and none of like they're not required to be vaccinated to be open.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
they're
just
like,
maybe just concern for their workers, their employees would be like nice. What is that? What is that concern?
I mean,
no
once
idea.
in a while they do, like when the measles outbreak happened, they did
Oh,
do
that's
a
right, I
vaccine
remember that.
drive for that.
You're still recording.
You're
Oh.
still recording.